Welcome back, Elden Ring fans, for another video. And here we are making my woods build. Yeah, I know. I've gotten a little bit misplacent with which character I put out. No, not really. Okay, so I know there was a poll that I put up that asked you guys what character you guys wanted next. But I don't want to just reach one group of people. I want to be outward towards everyone because, even the small people in the gaming community have a voice. And I want you guys to know that. I appreciate all of you. So I did make this character, not out of spite of the people who won the poll, but out of diversity. I want people to see something that I originally was just having a problem with in this game, diversity. I felt like everything was kind of a weapon art mash. So playing this game with this new COD aspect, in quotations, this woods build really opened my eyes to playing the game different, more diverse. Of course this has already been done by hundreds of other people, but not to this extent of where I had. I didn't have this experience with this game in a different way. I had always just played it kind of the normal way, but this will open you up to experiencing the game differently. This is a dex endurance health build. Of course it has to be a health build because you'll fucking die no matter what, so you need as much health as possible, of course. But with the endurance, it's because he's Marine. Woods in Call of Duty Black Ops, and this is the woods I had chosen, was the one from Black Ops, the original. I had chosen him specifically because he is my favorite version of Woods. He's the definition of warrior in that game. I, as a veteran, do see him as a really, really good vision of a warrior and what you would want to be. You would want to be somebody who's able to use your emotion. Woods is very angry all the time. He's cursing all the time. That's a very big thing that we do. At least what I did in the army. He's got that build with him. He's got that stoic, strong, but hard-headedness. And that's something you gain from the military. I even have that sometimes, but I did have a lot of fun in the military. I loved the military. The army was a lot of fun for me. But he and I share a common ground on when you have to activate beast mode, you need to activate beast mode. This is about your life, which is why I had to look at this in a different light. I had to look at this build as of what the fuck would I do? What would I do to ensure my survival and mission accomplishment? What would I do if I was transferred into a world like Elden Ring? And to be honest, I probably wouldn't do close combat. You're going to die. 90% of the time, you're probably going, if you're doing a knife fight in a reality check here, in real life, if you are doing a hand-to-hand combat knife fight, even with somebody untrained, you're going to get cut. And cuts can lead to infection. They can lead to death, blood loss, tons of other problems that you can't have back in this age, in this time period of where Elden Ring's set. Of course, you can heal that with magic, but Mason and me prioritizing him being a human being, we're only men. We can only do so much. And of course, there's auto heal on fucking Call of Duty, but I didn't want to go with that with the build. I wanted to bring the realism of him being a human being into this. I wanted the realism of stealth. So I picked a stealth, crossbow, dex oriented endurance build because he's a Marine. So we do have a Bowie knife because there's no K bar, but we do have the Bowie knife in order to take out enemies within close combat because that's typically your best friend, especially as a Marine. If it's not your old 1911 M16, back in the old day, before like our M4 carbine and stuff like that. Sorry, getting nerded out with military. Before all of our recent weaponry, you have those weapons, of course, but you have, the typical stereotypical Marine build. So I went ahead and went with what most people would see. He's got a crossbow. He doesn't have a regular bow because, we're not doing Cold War here. We're not doing Cold War Black Ops. We're doing regular Black Ops. There was no bow. There was only crossbow and explosive bolts and things like that. But we're morely stealth because that's what Call of Duty and Black Ops was about. It was about stealth and completion of the mission. It wasn't always about just going out and taking out the enemy. There's a lot of stealth in video games and a lot of stealth in the military. We don't want the enemy to know we're there until it's too fucking late for them. And that's exactly why I decided to choose Woods. Woods is a great character. He's full of anger, but he's also, he knows what to do. He's a good leader. He is a really, really good leader. When he gets captured by and turned into a POW, he completely, sure, gets a little mentally broken, but he's fine afterwards. He goes back to being a normal soldier. He's not a tool. And of course, you know, we're not going to go into if military uses you like a tool. You know, that's not a really good conversation to have. But we're going to go into the fact that he's a good soldier. He is able to pull himself together. He is combat ready. He is a built machine. And that is the idea of a person I would want with me. You know, he's good at sneaking. He's good at making educated, you know, decisions. He's looking at things from a perspective of, hey, I'm a fucking dude. Will I get destroyed by going over here and fucking with this dude with magic, you know, something that I'm not familiar with? I wouldn't be familiar with it, so he's not going to deal with that shit. You know, if we're going to fight, we're going to fight on our terms. We're going to go in there and go for the winning. We're not about losing. That's not how it goes. And, you know, it's our lives. It could be your men's lives. And that's how I had looked at this build for this character's aspect, you know, going through and smoking these guys out, you know, maybe not taking out every target if it's not prioritized, but going for the main things. You know, we're trying to find this document in this facility, in this fort, as we're trying to find this documentation of Mason. Mason is apparently listed in a book somewhere, and it'll tell us where we're at. It'll tell us where Mason's at. We're trying to figure out what's going on because we're in this random world. Now, Woods typically doesn't walk out in the open without, you know, getting a little bit more insight. You know, we're trying to make a smart decision. So he decides to back out. Hey, this is a bad idea. We got to get the fuck out of here. We got to figure out a plan of action. That is the biggest prioritization in a mission. Besides mission, you know, successfulness and, you know, the obvious objectives of the mission, it is about planning. That is what soldiers do. They plan a course of action. Even if it's like within a split second, you know, I turned around instantly. Hey, fuck, I'm getting this guy that I'm not expecting. I don't have a plan of action. My new plan of action is to turn around and make one. So that's exactly what we did. We scoped out, we looked around, we figured out, hey, I can take this cover. You know, there's 2 guys on the roof. We need to figure out how to go around and assassinate them quietly if possible. If not, we use deadly force. You know, extreme deadly force. We're going through and only using stealth. So, of course, he takes out his trusty Bowie knife, K-bar, and, of course, tries to take out the enemy as stealthily as possible. And luckily enough, I'm actually pretty okay with stealth. I am able to take out this guy pretty stealth-wise without the other guy actually noticing me somehow. I guess he's fucking blind, but that's a pity on him because he's going to have to pay for that later. But, like I said, with this build, I wanted to be open to the rest of the community. I want other people's opinions to still be seen and, you know, to reach out to more people. It's not just about enlarging my channel. It's about getting every gamer heard. You know, we're all in this community together, no matter how big or small my channel is. Everybody needs a voice. So this is for the little guys. This is for the guys who didn't get to get their, you know, they voted and maybe it was only 4 or 5 people, but, you know, out of the majority, not a whole lot of people got to be heard. You know, we're going to, of course, do every build that was on that list. It doesn't matter. I have 20, like, I have a million builds. You guys would be thinking I'm insane. I have multiple, like, I have multiple profiles on my Xbox just to make builds. And by the way, somebody messaged, I don't remember if I talked about this in the beginning of the video. Somebody asked me if I had modded and was doing this on PC. And I am just so proud to hear that because no, bro, I'm doing this on Xbox. You can do this. You can do this. You can do it. Spending 2 hours making a character is probably not healthy, but I do it because I find it fun. It took me, like I said, about 2 hours to an hour. I've gotten a lot better at it now. I think Woods only took me 25 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, because I already had a build that looked similar to him. I actually used my Wolverine build and built on top of that and, you know, changed it. I kept it saved. So what I do is I build halfway through until I think it's looking really, really promising. Then I save that as a character down below in your multiple. I think it's only, you get, I think 9 to 10, or I think it's 12. You get 12 characters that you can go through and make, and you can save their images and their specific build. And I go and I do that, and then I edit what I've already done. If I don't like what I've done or I messed it up, I just reset. And it takes a lot of time and effort, but that's the point. You know, putting effort into my videos is what makes them special to me and unique. And I am really grateful that somebody would say something like that, like, hey, do you mod on PC? Because it's just like, no, like, thank you. It's so cool to think that somebody's like, man, this is a really cool mod if this is a mod. I mean, I don't even know how you would mod people's faces into the game, really. But, I mean, if you could do it, that's cool. But no, I took the time to do this, and I'm very grateful for that comment. Thank you. Thank you so much. That brightened my day, because I was just like, man, I don't know if people like the way these look. Like, I don't, like, of course, you know, my Moist Critical one was just funny, but I don't know if people are like, man, that really does look good, or if whatever. It doesn't matter, but it made me happy, so thank you. But like I said, we know our prioritization with this build was stealth. Getting the first objective, which is Mason's documents, trying to figure out what's going on. You know, eliminating the enemy is a last priority, so that's what he's doing now. You know, he's been found out, so he's using deadly force, extreme deadly force. We're going through, guns a-blazing, fucking up everything. It doesn't matter. We need to get out of there. We need to eliminate the targets if possible, but our prioritization now is our life. We have what we need as top priority. You can know there's always a secondary attempt if we need to. You can always back out of a mission. But with this build, like I said, it opened my decision working of making builds. You know, I can always do funny builds that are just, you know, the typical stuff. But there's not a lot of people who get heard when it comes to some of the gaming community, like people who go through and do only item usage, only consumables. And this is kind of what I went with, because he's a human being. He can't use magic, but he can use magic items because he's a man. He doesn't need required intelligence. He doesn't need required strength or dexterity. He just needs a crossbow, a weapon, a knife, and his equipment. That's all it was about, was equipment. And it was a lot of fun to do. I had tons and tons of fun making this. This is my first time actually using a hard drive to make this video. I just had like a 528 gigabyte hard drive and transferred it, and it took me a lot of time to figure out how to do that, which is why I haven't uploaded in a while. I just figured out how to do it with this video, and now I'm doing it to the other videos, and it took me just quite a bit of time, and I'm very sorry about that. But I am hoping that I'm able to make better quality videos where I'm not having to cut them up and, you know, edit them a whole bunch, but also I'm able to do stuff like this, because this was completely unedited. This is just me running through. You know, I don't think I edited anything in this except for the very first beginning where I'm showing you his face to show you guys that, like, hey, he looks like him, you know, it's good, whatever. But we're also going through with my decision making. You know, I'm thinking about this differently. I'm not thinking about trading. I'm not thinking about magic. I'm not thinking about owning the enemy. It's all about getting the objective. You know, it's kind of a speed run tactic. It's also about, like, hey, decision making is important, which is exactly what you have to think about when you're a soldier. You know, you're putting yourself and other people in possible danger. What is the best course of action? How do I watch out for my guys? It's about being a leader. And Woods is, of course, alone on this mission, but he has to think about that too. You know, he can place his life in danger, but he needs to eliminate anybody who's seen his face, anybody who knows what's going on. You know, he needs to protect the people back at home base, everything like that. So we're going to take out these guys. You know, it's also let me show you guys more of the build and just having fun with it. I had a lot of fun making it. But you guys can do this too. You know, I am really good at making facial features for characters and, you know, coming up with cool ideas for builds and, you know, mimicking them for the characters they're created after. But you guys can do it too. You know, that's the whole point of this, is to open up people's eyes to what they can do in the game. Because the game was getting boring for me, you know, and it's not like creating characters was getting boring. It was just the play style of the game. You know, everybody talks about it and everybody understands L2 is just the way to win. You know, weapon arts are just so damn OP, and there's no reason not to use them when they're so fast, so powerful, and why use other moves. But with this build, it opened up my thought process to who I can really reach with this. You know, how many people would actually use a build like this? How many people would think like, hey, that's cool. Why don't I make a siphon filter build? Why don't I make like a whole bunch of other builds? And we're going to get into that because I have more builds coming, of course. But, you know, why don't I make all these other cool builds? And you guys will see a lot of those. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys did, please like and comment. Please subscribe if you guys haven't. I noticed that quite many people haven't, but that's fine if you don't. I'm just glad that you guys are here to watch us and enjoy this with me. But hopefully you guys do like these. I will make a whole bunch more. I'm not just going to stop. It's not happening. But like I said, I do enjoy this. Look forward to the Upman build and the Kratos and Boy build. And you guys have a good one. Peace out.